Follow the child. This is the cornerstone of movement method and horseboy method. Why? It doesn't come from me. It comes from Dr. Temple Grandin, who advised me at the beginning. You see, if I have one talent, it's knowing what I don't know. When my son was diagnosed in 2004, I knew that as a neurotypical, I couldn't make good decisions around what to do with someone who was autistic because I'm not autistic. I thought the only person that could understand this would be somebody who is autistic, who started as severely autistic as my son, non-verbal, incontinent, tantruming, etc., and who quote unquote made it in the neurotypical world. Who is that person? So I did some research and I said, well, that's Dr. Temple Grandin. When she was 3, she was non-verbal, in a corner, rocking, wiping her poo on the walls. Now she's this multiple best-selling author, professor of animal sciences, revolutionized the livestock industry in America, and still very autistic. So I sent her an email and I said, can I come interview you? She said, sure. I got there to Fort Collins and she said, I said, how does my son become you? And she said, Rupert, it's actually relatively simple. She said, do 3 things. She said, the first one is follow the child. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean by that exactly? And she said, well, even follow the child is 3 things in itself. First, follow them physically, follow them around, because if a child is non-verbal, they're not going to say, hey, Dad, I want to go check out the swing that I'm sitting on right now. They're just going to go and do it. You've got to be able to follow them like you would mark your opposing position if you're playing soccer, close enough that you can participate or keep someone out of danger, but not interfering with what they want to do. I said, that makes sense. Then she said, you've got to follow them emotionally. I said, what does that mean? And she said, well, that's interesting. She said, Ru, you'll notice that certain things make your kid happy and certain things make your kid sad, and you can't always see a logical reason for this. And that's because a lot of them are sensory in origin. So she said there are known bad sensory triggers for autistic people: fluorescent strip lights, industrial noise, the sound of a refrigerator or air conditioner, cigarette smoke, perfume, echo in a room. These are known triggers. So she said, if you can start to observe your kid, which is also following him physically, and see what seems to upset him and what seems to make him happy, and try to eliminate those things that upset him, and try to maximize the sensory environments where he seems happy, you will create resilience in his brain that not only allows him to learn, but also makes him better, this is interesting, makes him better able to handle the bad stuff when he goes into it, because he gets a break. So she said, you know, for example, here in nature, under this kind of dappled shade on a warm day, out of the direct sunlight, sound of birdsong, nice air quality, that's a perfect environment. That's why we're doing the filming here. The third part of follow the child, she said, was follow him intellectually. And this was where it got really interesting. Because I said, look, at this particular stage with my son, he's not displaying obvious sort of intellectual pursuits. He absolutely does now, but this is back when he was 2.5, 3. She said, no, it's in the stims, Ru. It's in the stims. She said, if your child is stimming in this sort of very rhythmic way, she said, you're probably looking at a math science brain. And if your child is stimming in a more exploratory sort of a way, you're probably dealing with an arts storytelling brain. And you'll notice that some of these stims are happy stims. Yay, would be the equivalent for a neurotypical. And some of these stims are stress stims, would be the equivalent for a neurotypical, but of course much magnified. And I thought, this makes perfect sense. And who but an autistic person could tell me that this kind of stim points to a math science brain, this type of stim points to an art storytelling brain, where the behavioural therapists were telling me, stop the kid from stimming because it's a socially inappropriate behaviour. And Temple Grandin said to me, yeah, Ru, they missed the point. They're not autistic, how would they know? And they haven't taken the trouble to come and talk to an autistic person to find out. So follow the child, physically, emotionally, intellectually. We're going to have more on this. We're going to do a whole series on this, but this is the key for now. For more information on Follow the Child and all of our lesson plans, behavioural modules and other good stuff, please go to ntls.co, not .com, we couldn't afford that one, ntls.co. See you on the site. Bye bye.